Hey, good morning, everybody. This is Frank, Data D. Lorenzo from Preferred Strategies on our weekly LinkedIn Live, where we take 15 minutes to just educate and share information, the vast knowledge, 500 years plus experience that our team has around business intelligence and data transformation, and educate the world. So bring your questions. We'll be doing this weekly. This is really for you and for us to help you on your data journey. So, morning, Monica. I would ask if you're here live, put one in the chat. That'd be cool. And if you are watching on demand, please go ahead and put a two in the chat because that way we can still respond to you. And in 15 minutes, these topics that we address, we just scratch the surface of them. So if you want to take anything deeper offline, further conversation, we'd be more than happy to do it. So, what is our topic today? Today, we're going to talk about the value, the importance, and what is a data model. You hear that term used quite a bit, anything from enterprise data warehouse to Power BI data sets. But what does it really mean to our business and to our functionality, our reporting? Morning, Monica. Looks like you are here bright and early and ready to learn. Love it. Okay, so when we talk about a data model, what does that really mean? How would you define a data model? And if you look it up, there is a variety. Good morning, Jill. Good to see you here. Ben, good morning. There's a variety of definitions, but when I combine it down, I think a fairly accurate definition of what a data model is, what it means to you is optimized data model creates a simplified logical database that eliminates redundancy, reduces storage requirements, enables efficient retrieval of our data. It also equips all the systems with a single source of truth, right? Because how we design a data model and best practices collect the data in a manner that we know it's validated. So when we're pulling data for any reports, and it doesn't matter if it's Power BI, Excel, paginated reports, we know it's accurate data. So for effective operations, a data model adds a ton of value. And I'm going to show a few visuals this morning that hopefully kind of help illustrate that just a bit. But one example I can just think of was someone had asked about connecting to multiple data sources. One of the consultants we work with recently, how can you do that? And what does that mean? And in talking through that, kind of realized that yeah, I could take say Power BI and I could connect it to a CRM data source, ERP data source, and maybe a third data source, and maybe some Excel spreadsheet data. But now I've got a big jumbled mess of data. How do I join it? How do I link it? How do I effectively create any visuals I can trust from that? So we got to talking about what is a data model. Now we represent it visually by a blue cube that represents the Power BI premium data sets that we produce, and I'll show that in just a moment. But the other example that really kind of stuck with me was software application back in the construction days known as Timberline, now Sage 300. I remember when they were writing the Windows version. It was the early 90s. I was there. I was there. Um, and the thought of features and how it's going to function and the ease of collecting data, an AP entry, time entry screen. There was a ton of thought into the design and spec of that system. But when it came to reporting, it was kind of like as we're in the beta testing and the final stages of these modules, what modules are going to release, job cost GL and the like. It became apparent that, geez, I guess we should write some reports now. And my point there is in the design of this ERP, and this isn't a knock on Timberline, I think this is generally across most ERPs, best practices for report production is probably not the first thought in the design of the database. The design of the database, I think the first thought is, how do I process transactions effectively? How does it work, expediently? So I'm not waiting forever for payroll to produce and things like that. So now you've got a database in your ERP that's optimized for the day-to-day functions of an ERP, but how do I make that optimized for reporting? And that's what a data model can provide. A data model, I think, is important to your business because of the fact that it provides strong data governance, data security, and you can trust in the data and efficient processing. It's not taxing the production database any longer, and it doesn't take forever to run a report, or it shouldn't if it's really designed well. It's really important for any organization in a sense that it can reduce business risk, provides a baseline where business, our companies can analyze risks and opportunities related to their data from a variety of sources. Corporate data typically doesn't live in one system, right? It lives in multiple systems. So I've kind of rambled excitedly on a bit. Let's see if we have any thoughts or questions out there. I'll take a look. I don't see anything yet. So, but do put them in there. This is really for us to be able to collaborate with you and share. And I know you can't ask a question, but please do use the comments feature, and I'll see those come up. And a finally thing with a strong data model is the fact that you have consistent security across all of your data. Let's use an example. I've got CRM, got ERP, got a supply chain system, and maybe I've got a project management or estimating system. So I've got data living in these different places. Two are in the cloud, one's in co-location, and one's on-prem. So how do I take all this and put it in a consistent place with singular security and governance? That's again what a data model can provide. So what I'd like to do now, and sharing on LinkedIn Live is always a fun and exciting journey in and of itself. So let's see if I can pull this off together here. All right. Step one, good. And now share. All right. Should be seeing this come up in 3, 2, see if I'm right, 1, perfect. Okay, so the purpose of these few slides, folks, is to give you a visual of what a data model process looks like and why there's a value in having a data model. So first thing is, if I can advance the slides. Okay, here we go. So when you think about it, here's your ERP, right? Regardless, it could be JD Edwards. For us, it's JD Edwards, Viewpoint Vista, NetSuite. Those ERPs we've got a data model built for, so ready to go, which we think is pretty awesome. But when you have your ERP, what do? Well, you create reports after reports. You write internal or third-party reports. Crystal report writer that is embedded in the ERP. And I see a good question there. I'm going to address that in just a moment. Thank you. That'll be good. I can manually extract Excel data into Excel and create reports. How do I trust it? That's a whole topic for another day. And then even using Power BI, right? If I'm writing Power BI reports, in this case, I have an example by module: sales, general ledger, purchasing, and the like. It creates data sets for each one. So under GL, if I wrote 6 reports, I now have 6 data sets represented by our little blue cube there. And then when I write all these reports, whether it's Power BI, paginated, or Excel, I've just got a library of reports that I need to manage. Well, let's reduce that a bit. So the next stage in this data maturity in creating a strong data model is you might now have a data model built by module. A little bit better. Instead of 6 one-for-one reporting, I have one model for all my 6 reports in GL as an example. But when we strategize and take this to the next level on our data journey, I now create one data model, again, represented by our magic blue cube here, that is all of the above modules, and data is being extracted and coming in from ERP or any other data source that makes sense for our corporate data and operational management. Now I'm writing reports, bada bing, bada boom, off of one data set. There's one best practices data model. And so when we look at prepping data, bringing it to Power BI, for example, and again, can be any other data, ERP. We have a model now for Salesforce, so I wanted to add that to the slide for those Salesforce folks out there. I live in it every day, so I can tell you it works well. Don't always like what it says, but it works well. So where does your business logic reside? Is it back here in all this stuff? This is that first stage. Is it over here, report by report, or over here, all my manual reports? How much of your same data is being refreshed? That's another thing, is optimization of the data. If I have all these separate things, every time I run one of these reports, it's refreshing the data, refreshing the data. It's a very good point to consider. And who manages all this? And what's your level of confidence the end result? So what we deliver actually, and what we're trying to educate the data community on, is the value of having something more like this, where instead of managing multiple areas where my data resides, or multiple reports like a library of reports, I'm managing my corporate data library. Think of it that way, my big book of data that's optimized for reporting. So which approach is best? Do we have, a data set for every report? 40, 50, 100 plus. Data set by module? That's better. It's better, a little less to manage. Or one data set for our corporate library. So here's where, we hope to get everybody. And then I just put this up because what does it take to build a data model? And this kind of goes to the conversations we have with engaging clients with: should you build it? Should you buy it? And what's the value of it? The difference. And if you just look at some of the steps here, I use JD Edwards as an example. Translate the table and column, translate their Julian dates, translate their decimals. These are all pretty difficult. The difficulty rating here, time it takes rating here. Translate the user defined custom tables or fields, summary tables, create all the unique keys. You kind of get a feel here. Create the DAX space measures. DAX is a coding language for creating the measures and so forth within Power BI. So this is just a very simple, like I said, scratch the surface summary of what it takes to actually build a data model. So we stop sharing that now and go to a question. So right here, can you copy security from ERP to the data model? Ben, yes, you can. That's actually a good question. So I'll use one because I worked with Viewpoint for many years. If Viewpoint has security set up, we can replicate that directly to the data model and then add additional security that the ERP, in this case Viewpoint, may not have thought of. Thank you, Bob. Hey, Bob, it's great to see you out there. It's been too long. I hope you're doing well. And then just a nice comment. So I like to share nice comments. Appreciate the visuals. Thank you very, very much. So again, what we deliver, what we're after, is helping our clients. And again, the 4 systems I mentioned: JD Edwards, Viewpoint, Vista, NetSuite, Salesforce, optimize their data and put in our data model. An example: it might take me 18 months to build anything close for Viewpoint to what we deliver, and we have it installed up and running in 6 weeks. It's because it's designed, validated, and vetted out already. So let's go to a recap. That was a fast 13 minutes. What did we talk about today? We talked about what a data model is. Now, there's a lot of definitions. We gave one that we think is a solid and fair definition. Why is it important to your business? Well, it's important so you can have trust in the data. Business moves at the speed of light, and decision making should be able to as well. And also, segue into next week, a strong data model affords you data governance, data security, which will be our topics for next week's LinkedIn Live. So I really hope you can join us then. Next Thursday, 8 o'clock. That's what we're here to discuss. Reach out to anybody at Preferred Strategies. We do have a great team. Easy to say, but great when you experience it. And we'd be happy to discuss all things data. My name again, Frank Data Lorenzo. I want to thank everybody who joined us today. And again, if you're watching this on demand, throw a 2 in the comments. I'll know it, and we'll be able to respond with you and have some fun. So with that said, keeping it on time, I bid you adieu. Everybody have a great day. Take care. Thank you.